Guys, my name is Gauri Mandre. I'm an intern at Lexicon Company, and my topic for today's discussion is public servant. In today's discussion, we'll see who all are public servant under law. Now, who is a public servant? Public servant can be defined to signify any person appointed and invested with authority to administer any part of the executive power if the government or to execute any other public duty imposed by law, whether judicial, ministerial, or mixed. So, public servant is defined under section 21 of IPC, which gives us approximately 11 categories under which, if a person he or she lies, then will be considered as public servant under law. First and foremost is that of every commissioned officer in the military, naval, or air force of India. Second is that of every judge, including any person empowered by law to discharge, whether by himself or as a member of any body of persons, any adjudicatory functions. Okay, so any person, any judge will be considered as public servant under law. Third would be every officer of a court of justice, including a liquidator, receiver, or commissioner, whose duty is as such officer to 1. Investigate or report to any matter of law and fact, to make, authenticate, or to keep any document, take charge or dispose of any property. Third would be to execute any judicial process or to administer any oath, to interpret or to preserve order of the court. Fourth is every person specially authorized by court of justice to perform any of such duties would be considered as public servant under law. Fourth one is every juryman, assessor, or member of panchayat assisting a court of justice would be considered public servant. So any commoner or any person who is assisting court in some matter would also be considered as public servant. Fifth is every arbitrator or other person to whom any cause or matter has been referred for decision or report of any court of justice or by any other competent public authority. Sixth is every person who holds any office by virtue of which he is empowered to place or keep any person in confinement. Seventh is every officer of the government whose duty it is as such officer to prevent offences, to give information of offences, to bring offender to justice, or to protect the public health, safety. Eighth is every officer whose duty it is as such officer to take, receive, keep, or expend any property on behalf of the government, or to make any survey, assessment, or contract on behalf of the government will also be considered to be public servant under law. Or who has a duty to execute any revenue process or to investigate or to report of any matter affecting the pecuniary interest of the government, or to make, authenticate, to keep any document relating to pecuniary interest of the government will be considered as public servant under law. 10th is every person who holds any office by virtue of which he or she is empowered to prepare, publish, maintain, or receive any electoral roll. So anybody who is appointed on duty in case of elections will also be considered to be public officer under law. 11th is every person in the service or pay of the government or enumerates by fees or commission for the performance of any public duty by the government. B is the service or pay of local authority or corporation established by, under a central, provisional, or state act, or a government company as defined in section 617 of the Companies Act 1956 will also be considered as public officer under law. So can a bank officer will be considered as a public officer under law? Then yes, under section 46A of BR Act provides for officers of a bank to be deemed as public servant for the purpose of chapter 9 of IPC. Second question is whether any municipal commissioner or a person working in panchayat will be considered as public servant under law. Then the answer is yes, they will be considered as public officer under law and will be provided the exemption and privilege in case of offence. hope that I have cleared some of your concepts. If so, do subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Thank you.